overhaul the Nigeria police structure to tackle current security challenges as it hosts traditional rulers from the northern part of the country. Federal government to license online television and radio stations as part of wide-ranging reforms approved by President Buhari for the broadcast industry. And Amazon fire spark a diplomatic tension as France and Ireland threaten to dump trade deal with South American nations unless Brazil fights the inferno.
On business news tonight, Securities and Exchange Commission advocates exemption of value-added tax on capital market transactions, reports over 3.4 million units of shares from consolidated multiple subscriptions.
And sports news tonight, Nigeria women miss out of the Tokyo 2020 Olympics after losing to Egypt in the final of the table tennis team event at the 2019 African Games.
And from Abuja, more reactions trail the inauguration of new ministers as prominent Nigerians weigh in on the controversies surrounding the composition of the federal cabinet.
The ripples from the 2019 general elections are not over yet. Day after day, election petition tribunals make verdicts either affirming the victory of the winners or otherwise. Today, the pronouncement from the tribunal hearing suits that emanated from the National and State Assembly elections in Kogi State did not favor Senator Dino Melaye, as the judges unanimously agreed to sack him from the National Assembly. Mr. Melaye's closest rival, Smart Adeyemi of the APC, had challenged his victory at the tribunal on the grounds that there were cases of irregularities, including overvoting and non-compliance with the Electoral Act. In their judgments, the three-man panel, led by Justice A.O. Chijoke, unanimously granted Senator Adeyemi's plea and affirmed that indeed the election was shrouded in controversy and marred by widespread malpractice. The panel therefore ordered that a fresh election be conducted in the senatorial district. In that election, Senator Melaye scored a total of 85,395 votes to defeat his APC opponent, Smart Adeyemi, who polled 66,902. Meanwhile, Senator Dino Melaye and his arch-rival Smart Adeyemi have been speaking on today's judgments by the Election Petition Tribunal. While Senator Adeyemi describes the judgments as deserved justice for him, Senator Melaye believes the judgment is a ploy to distract him from pursuing his governorship ambition in Kogi State. But Senator Melaye maintains that he will get justice at the appeal court. Justice Senator Smart Adeyemi insists on asking the appeal court to declare him winner of the February 23rd senatorial election.
The lead judgment is a travesty and miscarriage of justice. It has demonstrated the desperation to distract me because of my gubernatorial election. But I want to say that I cannot be distracted. I will not be distracted. My name is Daniel. I will not fall. There's a deliberate plan. Since I have been identified as the man that have the highest and best capacity to unseat Governor Yahaya Bello. Not only to unseat him, but to liberate the wonderful people of Kogi State from perfidy, from maladministration, from poverty and hunger. So honestly, everything is fine, everything is okay. He who laughs best. I believe that the Court of Appeal will give us justice.
Well, for us, I must tell you that while thanking the tribunal, as a law student, I do know the phrase that a court is not just a court of law, but a court of justice. In our petition, we did ask for a rerun of the election, because at that time we didn't have the required documents to enable us to make a proper request of we being declared the rightful winner of that election. I think in summary, we are looking forward to meeting him in the Court of Appeal, and we are probably going to cross appeal to say that based on the submission of the tribunal, that over 40,000 of the votes were in excess, then we should be declared. Even if we didn't ask for it, the court is not just a court of law, but a court of justice. A court of justice, because we have been cheated, we have been robbed.
Staying with legal matters, another major pronouncement was made today by the Federal High Court in Abuja. The court is asking the Minister of Petroleum Resources to grant the renewal of the Oil Mineral Lease 11 to Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria for 20 years. The trial judge, Justice Taiwo Taiwo, in his ruling, ordered that the renewal would be for 20 years and not 30, as requested by the company. The suit by Shell was instituted against the Minister of Petroleum Resources and the Minister of State by the oil-producing company. President Muhammadu Buhari doubles as the Minister of Petroleum Resources. Away from legal matters now, the President says he has commenced the process of revamping and repositioning the structure of the Nigeria Police Force through the provision of modern technological gadgets to meet rising security challenges across the country. President Muhammadu Buhari made the announcement today when he received traditional rulers from the north led by His Eminence Muhammadu Sayyad Abubakar III at the State House. Our correspondent Gloria Mizuke reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari received traditional leaders from the north in a meeting at the council chamber.
I have decided to meet with your highnesses.
This engagement, according to the president, is to firm up commitments in line with fresh policies and strategies introduced to address insecurity.
These policies and programs include a robust revamping of police intelligence gathering capacity and the significant boosting of the members of security personnel in our local communities. These, in specific terms, will include recruiting more police officers and doing so whenever possible from their local government areas, where they would then be stationed in the best tradition of policing worldwide.
The president also explained that the new strategies is the reason behind the return of the Ministry of Police Affairs.
We intend to improve the equipping of the police force with advanced technology and equipment that can facilitate their work. To drive this, I recently created a full-fledged Ministry of Police Affairs.
On his part, the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammadu Sa'ad Abubakar III, vows that the leaders will redouble their efforts to address insurgency. As the meeting came to an end, the traditional leaders expressed confidence in the string of efforts, policies and strategies adopted in the last few weeks by the president to bring an end to the nation's security challenge. From the presidential villa, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
And while the president is making efforts to restructure the police, the governor of Borno State, Babagana Zulum, believes the Civilian Joint Task Force is critical to ending insurgency in his state. Governor Zulum is also canvassing for the police to be re-equipped to support the task force towards putting an end to the insurgency. He was speaking with State House correspondents after a private meeting with the president.
This entails proximity to Morocco, entails proximity to Algeria, and entails proximity to Sudan as well as to Libya. And it is a sub-Saharan region. It's very difficult to man such areas. Because of the porosity of our borders, just to mention among others, we have some certain major problems in Borno State. Yes, Boko Haram started in our own place. Yes, I admit it. Most of them are my tribes. But believe me sincerely, their composition now cuts across almost every ethnic group in Nigeria. We are also advocating that the federal government should also look into the possibility of providing temporary permit to the Nigerian police to carry some of the weapons, considering the lean numerical strength of the military. That will now strengthen their numbers and then ensure that where there is limitation in terms of numerical strength, police can supplement.
In the meantime, about 133 Nigerian refugees, mostly women and children, who fled the country at the height of the Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast have returned home. The returnees touched down at the Yola International Airport aboard Nigerian Air Force Airline on Thursday in the company of officials of the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, UNHCR, International Organization for Migration, and other humanitarian organizations.
The Nigerian Air Force C-130 plane arrives at the Yola International Airport, Adamawa State, with about 133 Nigerian refugees returning from the Republic of Cameroon. Men, women, and children all voluntarily returning to Adamawa, their home state. Some of them narrate their ordeal.
We were in Cameroon for 5 years, but I left my husband there. This is because he wants to harvest his farm before returning home in the next batch. While in Cameroon, we suffered. We didn't have water, and we had to stress a lot to fetch firewood for our cooking.
Because of, it is not our country. We are saying thank God because of they are already help us to keep us, and then to give us food, and to give us a place to stay. Yes, we are saying thank God.
The Director, Refugees and Migrant Affairs, Mr. Lawal Hamidou, says the returnees will be checked to know their health status.
We are working on what we call health surveillance to make sure that no unknown disease comes this way. So the first step is to go to the Ministry of Health, where you will screen. Then you go to immigration to document your nationality properly.
The refugees get some food, after which vital information about them is captured. The Minister of Humanitarian Services, Disaster Management and Internally Displaced Persons, Sadiya Farouk, says this is the first batch of returnees.
We have just kick-started the first phase of this program. We have brought in about 133 returnees back home. So we feel good. The government of Nigeria is welcoming them back home. The government of Adamawa State is welcoming them back home. And they're going to be integrated back into the society very soon.
The Adamawa State government is also happy to receive them.
It is delighting to us, and we welcome them back home. And right now, they are going to be moved into a reception area for some security profiling to be done. While that is being done, we would be able to invite the community leaders, specifically the communities to which these returnees claim to have run out of, for them to be able to come identify their own ward members and take them back home.
There are about 97,000 Nigerians taking refuge in Cameroon, 8,000 from Adamawa State, while the rest are from Borno and Yobe State. The evacuation from Cameroon is expected to continue until all those who are willing to return are brought back home.
In part two, after the break, Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki says crisis in the State House of Assembly is over as he receives reports of committees set up to resolve the matter. Please stay with us.
You're welcome, my future in-law.
Thank you, sir.
We have seen what you brought. Are the assorted drinks complete?
Yes, it's complete.
What about the Hollandaise? Are they complete?
Yes, it's complete. Confirmed. Ezibogo.
And now for the most important item. Your retire well pension account number. Listen! You think I will allow you to toy with the future of my daughter and the children? This union cannot hold.
Making a move to secure your future is the perfect game plan. If you're self-employed, start a retire well plan to stay able for life.
Please, sir, give me a little time to get all those things.
All right.
I can also get...
Take this number now.
Okay, sir.
01 271 6000. Very simple.
Stanbic IBTC Pension Managers, a member of Standard Bank Group.
Dear Mom, you are extraordinary. You always go the extra mile to make sure my breakfast is made with extra nutritious Milo. I want to say a big thank you. You are extra precious and extra super.
Milo is thanking moms for being extraordinary by giving the family an extra 50 grams of delicious Milo for every 500-gram pouch bought. Don't miss out. Offer valid while stocks last.
My tasty jollof queen. #1 jollof chef.
When you start like this, I know it's jollof you want.
I know you're tired, dear, but please.
My husband deserves the best jollof. Yay! And so do my kids.
Yeah, Mom.
Not necessary, dear. I have all the pepper, onion, thyme, curry powder, garlic, ginger, and tomatoes I need in here. Welcome to the new way of making tasty jollof with no stress at all. All I do is pour my oil, add Tasty Tom jollof mix, fry for 4 minutes, and add water, some salt and seasoning, and finally rice. And my tasty jollof is ready in only 45 minutes.
So tasty. And for my jollof queen.
Tasty Tom Jollof Mix. No stress.
More jollof.
New Tasty Tom Jollof Mix.
It's the 59th Annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association. Theme, Facing the Future. The conference will headline discussions on the rule of law and future of human rights, Code of Conduct Tribunal, a clash of judicial and executive powers, sexual harassment in the legal community, implementing Sustainable Development Goal 5, the future of the legal profession. Other conference activities include the 10-kilometer health walk, musical, Fela and the Kalakuta Queens, President's Dinner, and a music concert. Speaker, Horatio Bernadez Neto, President, International Bar Association. Date, August 23rd to August 29th, 2019. Venue, Eco Hotel and Suites and Harbor Point, Victoria Island, Lagos, respectively. For registration and other inquiries about the conference, please visit www.nbaconference.com or visit social media platforms as displayed.
This is the new Chelsea London Dry Gin 75cl gift pack. Isn't it amazing? Chelsea London Dry Gin didn't leave it at that. It has a new look and feel across board. And this is the 37.5cl with a brand new label and cap to round up a true work of art. Introducing new elegant 18cl and 10cl bottles and a new stylish 3cl sachet. Chelsea London Dry Gin, laced with doses of berries to give the same crisp, premium taste. A toast to Chelsea London Dry Gin.
Welcome back. If it has joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Election Petition Tribunal nullifies the election of the senator representing Kogi West in the National Assembly. Dino Melaye orders fresh election to fill the senatorial seat. President Buhari says plans are on to overhaul the Nigeria police structure to tackle current security challenges as he hosts traditional rulers from the northern part of the country. Federal government to license online television and radio stations as part of wide-ranging reforms approved by President Buhari for the broadcast industry. And Amazon fires spark diplomatic tension as France and Ireland threaten to dump trade deal with South American nations unless Brazil fights the inferno. For more information on our top stories and others, please visit our websites, channelstv.com. YouTube.com/channelsweb has videos of our shows. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved wide-ranging reforms in the broadcast industry, including the licensing of online radio and television stations. The Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, made the comment when he received members of the broadcasting organizations of Nigeria in his office. The minister explained that the reforms were made to ensure that sanity is brought to the industry. He added that he would carry along members of the broadcasting organizations of Nigeria in the review of the broadcasting code.
I just want to use the opportunity to inform you that the federal government has actually already approved that a review of the broadcast code that is going to take care of many of the issues you've already raised here today. In particular, the federal government has approved that web TVs and online TVs will be licensed. So, because we must bring sanity, into this industry.
Moving on to Edo State, where Governor Godwin Obaseki has been speaking on the crisis in the State House of Assembly, and he says the problem is now over. Governor Obaseki revealed that the state's chapter of the All Progressives Congress is ready to reconcile all aggrieved members of the party. He mentioned this after receiving the report of a reconciliatory committee set up to look into all post-election matters at the party's secretariat in Benin City. Governor Obaseki, however, noted that the party will not force any of the aggrieved lawmakers elect into the State House of Assembly to come for peace talks.
It's ended, actually. We're just waiting for the members to come back to the House and get inaugurated. So I don't think there's any crisis. As long as the party gives the opportunity to reconcile, to be members of that family, as long as that opportunity exists, if it is not utilized, there's not much you can do. The onus is really on them to come and represent the people who voted for them, because if I'm sure from the reports we've seen, you see these are people who contested against them that are unhappy. So we're trying to placate those ones. So if we're placating the people whose chances you took, and then you don't even appreciate the opportunity that has been given, you can imagine the irony of life.
Linda Kingme joins us now from the FCT with more stories on the news at 10. Hi, Linda. Great to see you.
Hello, Amarachi. Good to see you too, and welcome to Abuja. Now, more reactions have continued to trail the appointment of ministers into the cabinet of President Muhammadu Buhari, this time from prominent Nigerians. Our correspondent Kayla Megwa speaks to some of them regarding the competence of the appointees and the ripple effects of the controversies surrounding the new cabinet.
We continue the conversations around the new ministerial appointments with a visit to one of the speakers during the ministerial retreat, Professor Femi Odekunle.
Some people will think you should have put Festus Keyamo in justice, particularly in terms of fighting corruption. But then in his wisdom, he has put him in Niger Delta, along with Akpabio. Then you could say, well, maybe the president has an intention to draw in the people of Niger Delta to be closer to the center and to be closer to the government, and so he's putting a politician and an activist into that region.
The president of the Nigerian Institute for Industrial Security says it is dangerous to put the Ministry of Budget and National Planning under the Ministry of Finance.
We've been talking about the fact that there are policy somersaults and there's no consistent follow-up on projects and programs and what have you. And national planning is supposed to track all this. Now they have been rather diminished.
Veteran journalist Tony Iradia says these new ministers need to communicate better with the people.
Most ministers will tell you no comment when you ask questions. If you say no comment, what do you expect me to take away from it? It means that nothing is happening. That's escapist. It's rather evasive.
I wouldn't want to believe there is...
We spoke to a former pilot on his experience at the Enugu airport and his thoughts on his closure by the Minister of Aviation.
I remember when we used to fly to Enugu with no aid. You have to use radio beacons. And Enugu shouldn't be treated that way. So I believe strongly that if he had closed that airport, I'll encourage him to close Calabar, and let's just fix them once and for all.
If you are talking about roads, it's not
A communications scholar and dean, School of Postgraduate Studies from the Bayero University, Kano, calls for more cooperation between the ministries.
So one will expect one very clear vision on what they need to do in their individual ministries, of course, targeted at meeting the needs of Nigerians. Then secondly, we also expect to see cohesion and unity among the various ministers so that they will not be working at cross purposes.
The new ministers have their work cut out for them, as Nigerians watch them closely to ensure they deliver on their respective mandates. Kayla Mbagwa, Channels Television News.
The United States Department of Justice, USDJ, released a damning statement which is already causing a frenzy in the media. The American government agency published the names of an online syndicate of mostly Nigerian nationals facing fraud and money laundering charges, who defrauded no fewer than 18 corporate organizations and 14 individuals across the world of several millions of dollars. According to the USDJ, the 80-member syndicate is so skillful at scamming corporate entities and individuals of money that some of your victims were defrauded multiple times within hours. And in some cases, several members of the syndicate defrauded the same victim within a number of days. Meanwhile, the American Broadcasting News Agency posted a video a while ago showing some Nigerians indicted for internet scam being rounded up. According to the tweet, the arrest is part of a 252-count indictment that accuses 80 people in the U.S. and Nigeria of participating in a conspiracy to steal millions of dollars through fraud schemes. The FBI says the case is part of ongoing efforts to protect Americans from fraudulent online schemes and to bring to justice those who prey upon American citizens and businesses. Meanwhile, reactions are beginning to pour in over the indictment of Nigerians in various parts of the U.S. for cases of massive email fraud and money laundering. The chief executive of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri-Erewa, believes that the actions of a few Nigerians involved in criminal activities is not and can never be what the majority of Nigerians represent, and kicked against the stereotyping of Nigeria and Nigerians generally. She explains that the Commission acknowledges the fact that accusation does not mean guilt, yet it expects that all the suspects will be given fair and speedy trial. The statement asks the accused to turn themselves in to the American authorities to clear their names, without which the Nigerian government should extradite them if relevant international treaties between the two governments are invoked. To health matters. The Director General of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, Dr. Chikwe Ihekwazu, has been speaking on why the prevention of Ebola disease goes beyond checks at the airport. He's advocating for better structures to be put in place in order to detect and prevent the spread of diseases, as he calls on Nigerians to be more conscious of preventive mechanisms. He was speaking with our correspondent Malpe Ogun Yusuf on Channels Television's program Hard Copy.
The NCA has a specific mandate around airlines, which is very important. But, you know, I know the first case of Ebola in Nigeria arrived at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. But, you know, we shouldn't think that every case will arrive at that airport. You know, we have lots of other international airports, lots of land borders, seaports, and fundamentally, a case of Ebola who is within his initial incubation period, before he has symptoms, will be undetected at any airport. So really, it's the preparedness we're talking about is much broader than, you know, just the scanners at the airport, which everyone tends to focus on. So really, this is about prevention as much as possible. If you can do that, have the infrastructure and architect to detect what happens. And when you do, then have the people, resources that are trained and are able to respond confidently to any infectious disease. So you see, the responsibility to prevent infectious diseases is really an all community responsibility. You know, so people look up to the NCDC a lot and say, what are you doing about a cholera outbreak or a measles outbreak? Our response always is, you know, there's only so much we can do. We all have a responsibility around prevention. You know, making sure your children are vaccinated, making sure you have clean water to drink.
When the news at 10 returns, Securities and Exchange Commission seeks exemption of value-added tax in capital market transactions. That's in business news. Plus, France tackles Brazil over the fires in the Amazon, and coming from our London bureau is Around the World in 5. Join us again.
There's an old saying in Nigeria, a good name is better than gold. At First Bank, we know that our reputation, built on award-winning services, is what keeps us in the coveted position of market leader. A reputation for understanding our customers' modern lifestyles and business needs. You first, First Bank.
I am a man of action. So I choose Action Bitters. I choose to be unique and different. I choose to stay connected to my roots, my true African roots. And even though I work hard, I play even harder. With Action Bitters, made from the finest of African herbs, to make sure the action goes on all day and all night.
Action go. I choose Action Bitters. I choose Action Bitters.
Choose 100% herbs. Choose Action Bitters, true African roots. Produced by Intercontinental Distillers Limited. Not for persons under 18. Drink responsibly.
There's a difference between those who see and those who have vision. Only a few have it. The vision to see beyond ordinary success. They don't see things the way everyone else does. That's what makes them different. Unleash your vision with the new Techno Phantom 9 AI triple camera.
Keep your white fabrics glowing whiter, your home sparkling and free from germs with Hypo. Make a dazzling impression every time and let your white speak for you.
My wife. Any other wife is a counterfeit.
Oh, Mama.
Endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association, now available in Lime Breeze.
The buzz of alarms hails you, captain of the home, lady of the grind. Through the days of close deals and office politics, the carefree laughter of your little ones drives you. Even with school fees wahala, still you continue to push and believe. And these children where you see so, go grow and prosper. Because at Union Bank, there's a loan for everyone. Apply today. Union Bank, your simpler, smarter bank.
You know, from day one, Globe makes life easier. They brought us per second billing, unbelievable data packages, and even an optic fiber cable to make sure we optimize. There are two things in our lives we depend on: the communication and information, voice and data. Whether you sell, buy, learn, teach, serve, or lead, it really comes down to those two things: voice or data. Today's world is all about you. You want what you want, how you want it, and Glow delivers. The freedom to use voice and data the way you like on every recharge. Easy.
Glow Yakata, the heavyweight voice and data plan. Recharge from 100 Naira and get a minimum 500 Naira to call all networks, plus up to 6 gigabytes of data to browse, chit-chat, WhatsApp and more. Dial *230# or buy your Glow SIM. Glow Unlimited.
Welcome back. The founder and senior pastor of the Commonwealth of Zion Assembly, Biodun Fatoyinbo, has been explaining his reasons for boycotting the investigation panel set up by the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, the PFN, over the rape allegation against him. A statement from his executive senior assistant, Ademola Adetuberu, says Pastor Fatoyinbo had clearly told the leadership of the PFN that he would not honor the invitation based on legal advice, and that he would rather await for the result of the police investigation on the matter. He explains that the PFN was already prejudiced and may not conduct an impartial session based on the press statement issued and personally signed by the PFN president, Bishop Felix Omobude, where the Koza senior pastor was publicly disowned without seeking his side of the story. Pastor Fatoyinbo's response is in reaction to a press conference organized by the PFN, where it declared the findings of its panel inconclusive due to Pastor Fatoyinbo's absence. The embattled Koza pastor is accused of rape by the wife of the popular musician, Simi Dakolo. The ancient town of Owo in Ondo State came alive today as the traditional rites for the official installation of the new king of the town were held. The new monarch, His Royal Majesty Ajibade Ogunoye, is a 32nd traditional ruler of the town. The chiefs from Iloro quarters performed the installation ceremonies, being the custodian of Owo tradition, as they came with the first king of the town, all the way from Ile-Ife, the cradle of the Yoruba race. Thereafter, prayers were offered for the new monarch and the town. The traditional rites will continue for 17 days until the coronation day, when the king will be crowned. The 53-year-old new Olowo was a permanent secretary in Ondo State Civil Service before he was elected as king.
You see, the Olowo had gone to perform about 4 operations today now, 4 rites. The first one in the morning will be before 6 a.m. The Yoruba call it Eri, that is Dio. Okay? That title, 2 of them, he must hand them before becoming an Olowo, and he must hand them before sunset. So we did that. Then it now moved to where he will be installed as the Olowo for Gogongon. And that was done. Then at Arigidi, the Iloro people are the people that followed us from Ife when we were coming from Ife. They prayed for him, and then he did the Ite. So now, you see, when we left Ife, we stopped over at a place called Upefa. That's around Idonri. From there, we moved to the place where there is Imade College now. Before we finally move here, each of these things are guided by God divination. So we are going to feed Nigeria with tradition this year. We have shown the tradition of the transition of our Oba. We are showing Nigeria today the installation of our Oba. On the 8th of September, we are going to show them how we crown our Oba.
Meanwhile, it is a lucky day for 10 persons who have been randomly selected as winners of different cash prizes offered at the Better Life Billionaire promo. The 10 winners were selected as raffle draw today in Lagos, and they're among other Nigerians who played the game.
Are you wishing?
As the drums roll out, 10 lucky winners are picked randomly from a draw electronically conducted at the Better Life Billionaire promo.
Now start praying. If you are the winner, then you are the winner.
A surprise call is made to the winners.
I'm happy to announce that you have won 5 million naira. Wow. Wow. How do you feel? Wow. You feel wow.
This is the first of 13 other draws that will be held, with 10 people winning 5 million naira each and 200 million naira at the grand draw.
How you can participate in the Better Life Billionaire promo. So we have 3 platforms available. We have the text to win, which is available for just only MTN users. You text BLB to 5453. Then we have the web platform with which you can access via the internet. That's www.blbpromo.com. And we also have the USSD platform available for MTN, Airtel, and 9 mobile users. Dial star 5453#, then follow the prompts, and you play through that process.
The promo is open to everyone and is targeted at alleviating poverty in Nigeria.
It's actually CSR based because we have the communities where we are going to provide facilities for. Of course, you know the deficit in infrastructure in Nigeria, so we want to plug in to that area. Now, the primary part, which is the Nigerians, especially those within what I call the oi polloi and what have you, we want to ensure that they are able to win a prize, okay, and of course better their life with whatever they have won instead of squandering it.
And these are some of the winners: Onumonu Chioma Vivian from Lagos State, Abiola Adeoye from Kwara State, Samuel Daudu from Lagos Oshodi, amongst others. The Better Life Billionaire promo is a novel initiative of NNB Capital and Investments Limited, a financial and investment advisory firm.
Let's get the day's latest business headlines from Anne Wawodo, who joins us now.
You first. First Bank.
Thank you, Amarachi. Welcome to Business News. The Securities and Exchange Commission, in collaboration with the Capital Market Committee, is appealing to the federal government to resolve uncertainties surrounding stamp duties as well as the exemption of value-added tax on capital market transactions. The Acting Director General of the Commission, Ms. Mary Uduk, made this plea at the post-second quarter committee meeting briefing right here in Lagos. According to her, over 3.4 million units of shares have now been regularized from the multiple subscription of shares consolidation program of the Commission.
The Commission noted the challenges posed to the market over the uncertainty around the collection of stamp duties between FIRS and NIPOST. We informed the market of the SEC and CAMIC advocacy engagements with the Office of the Vice President and the Federal Ministry of Finance to resolve this issue. We expect this to be resolved very soon, as well as a request to exempt equities transactions from VAT payments. The Multiple Subscription Committee informed the meeting that the Committee of Heads of Banking Operations had agreed to collaborate with the Commission to display banners in banking halls all over the country, sensitizing the public on the regularization of multiple subscription of shares. Company secretaries of listed companies have also agreed to display similar information on their website and offices. So far, the regulation exercise has recorded the consolidation of over 3.4 million units of shares.
Export of Nigeria's 4 key crude oil grades, we're talking about Bonny Light, Bonga, Kwa Ibo and Forcados, are set to rise in October by 8,000 barrels per day, with a notable drop in Kwa Ibo from 253,000 barrels to 184,000 barrels per day. Now, traders are saying the planned maintenance on Buzzard Field in the North Sea, which is set for early September, may provide support for comparable Nigerian grades. Decreasing U.S. gasoline demand has weighed on Nigerian differentials in recent days, with offers for Bonny Light and Kwa Ibo sliding below $2.50 above the dated Brent. Meanwhile, the preliminary October loading program for more grades of Nigerian oil released today indicates about the same volume of export as the previous month. And still talking about oil, prices have fallen deeper today after China unveiled retaliatory tariffs against $75 billion worth of U.S. goods, marking another escalation of a prolonged trade dispute between the world's 2 largest economies. Brent crude futures dropped by 0.8% today to $59.40 a barrel, while U.S. WTI crude futures fell 2.1% to $54.17 a barrel. Both contracts were trading higher in early trade today. Meanwhile, comments from the U.S. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell indicates the U.S. economy is in a favorable place and the Fed will act as appropriate to keep the current economic expansion on track. And about 4 billion naira of gained by investors at the stock market today in 3 consecutive sessions. Investors are maintaining bargain hunting position for low-priced valued stocks. Edidiong Ewang has the details for us.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. After a battle for supremacy between the bears and the bulls, Friday's trading session ends the third week of August in the green, up by 0.62% on persistent bargain hunting for low-priced and high-value stocks. A look at the sector performance shows that the banking sector maintained the lead with another 2.74% rally driven by Tier 1 lenders GT, Zenith and Axis Bank, while consumer goods giants Nestle and Unilever added support to the sector's 1.07% increase. However, the insurance sector fell in negative territory on profit-taking in its key component. Now, this comes as Sovereign Trust Insurance contributed over 90% of the 1.23 billion shares traded in over 3,600 deals today, as 900 million of its shares changed hands 2 days after the deadline of its rights issue expired. And if you're just wondering who the top 3 gainers and losers are for the day, let's take a look at the screen. Well, that's the stock market report for the day and the week. I'm Edidiong Iwang.
Thank you, Edidiong. We hope for better results next week. Meanwhile, renewed trade tensions between the United States and China has pushed stocks in Europe and on Wall Street lower today. President Donald Trump ordered U.S. manufacturers to move from the country. Let's see the figures for today. Thanks for watching Business News Tonight. Have a wonderful weekend. I'm Anne Nwaudu. It's back to you, Amarachi.
You first. First Bank.
Thanks, Anne. Still ahead on the news at 10. France tackles Brazil over the fires in the Amazon, and coming from our London bureau is Around the World in 5. Plus, in sports news, Nigerian women miss out of the Tokyo 2020 Olympics after losing to Egypt in the final of the table tennis event at the 2019 African Games. Please stay with us.
A mother's instincts are hardly ever wrong. She knows when all is not well. And she trusts M&B Paracetamol, the red one, to save the day. With fast-acting and effective M&B Paracetamol tablet, the red one, and its pleasant-tasting pineapple flavor syrup, she sends aches and pains far away from her family. M&B Paracetamol. Pain can't stop you. If symptoms persist after 2 days, consult your doctor.
Glow and Maple. Get 5 times recharge with *555* #PIN#.
Make I sell my market finish first, eh? I will call you back. Oh.
Glow Unlimited.
Dear Mom, you are extraordinary. You always go the extra mile to make sure my breakfast is made with extra nutritious Milo. I want to say a big thank you. You are extra precious and extra super.
Milo is thanking moms for being extraordinary by giving the family an extra 50 grams of delicious Milo for every 500-gram pouch bought. Don't miss out. Offer valid while stocks last.
There's a difference between those who see and those who have vision. They don't see things the way everyone else does. That's what makes them different. They don't play by our rules. They design their own. How about you? Unleash your vision with the new Techno Phantom 9 AI triple camera.
This is the new Chelsea London Dry Gin 75cl gift pack. Isn't it amazing? Chelsea London Dry Gin didn't leave it at that. It has a new look and feel across board. And this is the 37.5cl with a brand new label and cap to round up a true work of art. Introducing new elegant 18cl and 10cl bottles and a new stylish 3cl sachet. Chelsea London Dry Gin, laced with doses of berries to give the same crisp, premium taste. A toast to Chelsea London Dry Gin.
Welcome back. The leaders of France and Ireland are refusing to ratify a huge trade deal with South American countries unless Brazil does more to fight raging fires in the Amazon. President Emmanuel Macron said President Jair Bolsonaro lied to him about his stance on climate change. Here's Simon Puser with more and other international stories in Around the World in 5.
Good evening from the Channel's newsroom here in London. The Brazilian government lacks the resources to fight a record number of wildfires burning in the Amazon rainforest. That's according to the President Jair Bolsonaro, just weeks after telling donors he did not need their money. Fires in the Amazon have surged by 83% so far this year compared with the same period a year earlier, destroying vast swathes of the forest considered a vital defence against climate change. Brazil is facing growing international criticism over its handling of the Amazon, 60% of which lies in the country. Portuguese footballer Cristiano Ronaldo earlier tweeted this photo saying the Amazon rainforest has more than 20% of the world's oxygen and has been burning for the past 3 weeks. It's our responsibility to help save our planet. Bolsonaro has said, without supporting evidence, that non-governmental organisations were behind the fires. Meanwhile, environmental groups say the fires are linked to the Brazilian president's policies, which he denies.
He needs to say, stop the burning, that we will not tolerate deforestation. We will fight crime that destroys the forest. The president has not done this. He attacks inspectors, he attacks scientists, he attacks the indigenous, he criticises them all. All those who protect the Amazon, he criticises Germany and Norway. And at the basis of it is the Amazon. At no time has anyone heard the President of the Republic criticise environmental crime.
The Commission is deeply worried. The Amazon is the world's largest rainforest and contains 1/10 of the world's species. That's why we do welcome President Macron's intention to discuss this issue during the G7 meeting. The sense of urgency is indeed warranted. We are in touch, as always, with the Brazilian and Bolivian authorities and stand ready to assist in any way we can, be it, for example, by providing assistance or by activating our Copernicus satellite mapping systems.
Meanwhile, a blazing wildfire engulfed land along Marbella's AP7 motorway. Flames could be seen billowing into the sky as Spanish emergency services attempted to tackle the fire. At one point on Thursday night, residents of 40 homes were evacuated. At least 5 people have been killed in a stampede at a rap concert in the Algerian capital. Thousands had gathered at a stadium in Algiers to see a rapper better known as Soul King perform when a stampede is said to have broken out at one of the entrances. 21 people were injured in the stampede and taken to hospital. The concert then went ahead and was carried live on Algerian TV. A man convicted of killing 3 gay men during an 8-month crime spree in 1994 has been executed in Florida. Gary Bowles was executed by lethal injection at 10:58 p.m. at the state's death chamber in Rayford. The execution had been delayed for several hours as the 57-year-old sought unsuccessfully for a last-minute appeal for his life from the US Supreme Court. A 17-year-old Israeli girl has been killed in a bomb attack near a Jewish settlement in the occupied West Bank. Rena Schnerb had been hiking with her brother and father outside Dolev when an improvised explosive device was detonated. It was not clear if the device was thrown or had been planted there. Rena's brother and father were seriously wounded by the blast and were evacuated by helicopter to a hospital. Russian President Vladimir Putin has ordered a like-for-like response to a recent US missile test. The Pentagon said it had tested a conventionally configured cruise missile that hit its target after more than 500 kilometers of flight. Washington formally withdrew from the Cold War-era Intermediate-Range Nuclear Forces Treaty on August the 2nd after accusing Moscow of violating it, a charge dismissed by the Kremlin. Staying with Russia, and the country has launched a pioneering floating nuclear power station, which will sail 5,000 kilometers from the Arctic port of Murmansk to Chukota in the Far East. The nuclear agency Rosenergoatom says the ship's mobility will boost the power supply to remote areas. One of its targets is to power a large mining complex in Chukotka, which includes gold mines. Greenpeace sees the project as high risk in a harsh weather environment. And finally, a Malaysian tapir has given birth to its third baby at Antwerp Zoo in the north of Belgium. It's yet another success for the zoo's 29-year breeding programme. Malaysian tapirs, identified by a light-coloured patch from the middle of their body to the rear, are an endangered species. Unlike their adult parents, the baby tapirs are born with distinctive coats that help to camouflage them from the potential predators on the forest floors in their native Southeast Asia. 8-year-old mother Nakal's baby came after a 13-month pregnancy. Her 2 other offspring have been transferred to other zoos as part of the breeding programme. And that's your international news around the world in 5.
Thanks, Simon. Ayotunde Balogun is up next with sports news.
Yes, indeed, Amarachi. Well, not too cherry news from the All-African Games taking place in Rabat, Morocco. Well, Nigeria will not feature in the women's table tennis team event at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics after losing to Egypt in the final of the 2019 African Games. Egypt's trio of Dina Meshref, Farah Abdelaziz and Yusra Helmi edged Nigeria's trio of Funke Oshonake, Ofyong Edem and Cecilia Appen 3-2 to clinch gold and picked Africa's sole ticket. The table tennis team event at the 2019 African Games serves as qualifiers for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Niger Tornadoes Football Club have crashed out of the 2019-2020 CAF Confederation Cup. Tornadoes forced Santoba to a thrilling 3-3 draw in the second leg in Conakry. But the Minna Bay side exited the tournament 5-4 in goals aggregate after losing the first game 2-1 and played 2 weeks ago in Kaduna. Belgian champions KRC Genk have announced the signing of Super Eagles forward Paul Onwachu from Danish side FC Midtjylland. The 25-year-old who helped Nigeria clinch a record 8th AFCON bronze medal in Egypt last month becomes the club's 8th signing of the season. He will join fellow Nigerian and former MFM goal king Stephen Ode, who also joined this summer from Swiss club FC Zurich. Super Falcons head coach Thomas Dennerby has stated that 6 players invited for the first leg of the Tokyo 2020 Olympic women football qualifier billed for August the 28th in Algeria will not be available owing to club duties. But the players who opted out of the match have duly informed the NFF, and they are Aziza Toshola, Francisco Odega, Ngozi Okobi, Ngozi Ebere, Rashidat Ajibade, and Osinachi Ohale. And that's sports news. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. It's back to you, Marachi.
Ayotunde, and the main news again. The Election Petition Tribunal today nullified the election of the senator representing Kogi West in the National Assembly, Dino Melaye. The tribunal ordered a fresh election to fill the senatorial seat, but Senator Melaye said the judgment is a plot to distract him from pursuing his governorship ambition. On the contrary, his rival, Smart Adeyemi, said the judgment is a well-deserved victory for him. That is the news at 10 tonight. Thanks for watching. I am Amarachi Ubani. Good night.
Coming up on Metro 5 this week, It's the big 100th birthday celebration for the Doyen of Accounting in Nigeria, Pa Akintola Williams. Prominent Nigerians celebrate the latest centenarian.
We say happy birthday to the wife of the former governor of Abia State, Dame Gladys Nwafo.